Bongu, and welcome to this week's Eurovision reaction and review. Today, Malta. Malta's song is called Dawra, and it means turns round or turn around. The artist behind it is Gianluca Cilia, and he won the national selection from Malta, which meant that eventually they would come up with a song for him, which we are about to listen to. It's very familiar. I've heard this before at Junior Eurovision. People of the sun. Oh, right. I'm loving this aesthetic. Like, it was 40s before, now it's 50s. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, no, I'm still getting People of the Sun vibes. I mean, for me, that's a good thing, because I like that song. Also, the 35th president of what country? America? But then there's Maltese flags? Very interesting. I'm not against this particular number, but the thing is, I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, did we really just get a People of the Sun clone? I'm not necessarily against songs sounding like other songs. I'm just wondering, is it too soon for a song that sounds exactly like another song that already did well at Junior Eurovision to do well at Junior Eurovision? That is one of my major complaints against this song at the moment, just on first reaction, that I think if I wanted to go listen to People of the Sun, I would go listen to People of the Sun, which is leaving me with this majorly conflicted feeling about this track at the moment. Other than that, I really liked the way that it looked, everything like that. It's a pretty smick entry. I'm just really not sure how it makes me feel. So the next step is to listen to it a couple more times and then give it a proper review. Yeah, no, it's People of the Sun. Literally, People of the Sun. That part, People of the Sun. I mean, it's not plagiarism, it's just a very, very heavy closeness. I'm not accusing this of being a plagiarism case. It's just very close. In terms of what I liked about this song, I really, really loved the aesthetic of the music video. And why do I like that? Well, the thing that I found within the music video was that there was this particular undercurrent of such a trend of 1940s, 50s, 60s. For some reason, when it comes to children, I'm a little bit more accepting of that aesthetic. I don't know why, and it's mostly because of the colour filters that they used. The colour filters that they used helped very much to create that image. The black and white filter, the monochrome filter in the very, very beginning, well, that maintained this style of, well, just elegance, old-timeliness, and then the bright filter, which came along later, just very, very heavily reminds me of this kind of filter that you get in, like, 1950s and 60s. In terms of the musical composition itself, I found that the horn section of this particular piece of music is extremely strong. I just found that the horn hooks, especially the saxophone, which came into play during the bridge and the post-chorus, just helped the song shine. There was a bit of Maltese in there, which is a bit unusual for Junior Eurovision. This is about the second time that they've featured the language in Junior Eurovision, and it's about the 5th or 6th time overall, including Senior Eurovision, that Maltese has been used in the vocals. I really love how heavy the drums come into the mix. That is a cool feature that I feel like really, really helps cement the genre when it comes to your brassy dance pop. The thing is, if I wasn't sitting down and if I didn't want to stay seated down on my chair, I would probably have gotten up and danced to that. But the thing is, when you get up and dance on camera, it looks a lot more awkward than, you sitting along and just nodding your head. So I prefer not to do that to anyone, so that's why I stayed seated. I found that this song really hit on listen number 1. And why do I say that? Well, you'll find out when it comes to my scoring, but I do think that in terms of having an impactful song at a Eurovision, you need to have that impact on the first listen. Why do I think that impact on the first listen is important? Because televote usually listen once and in the recap. So, you get like 1.2 listens of a song on average before you submit a vote. The juries, however, this is where it starts trailing into a dislike, but the juries tend to listen to songs a few times before they decide what vote they're going to give. This is mostly to encourage, oh, that's a song. That's a really good song. Rather than that's a one-time really good performance. One of my major dislikes was that this is really, really a lot similar to a song we had at Junior Eurovision only 3 years ago. Now, I don't know how I feel about that. If it were a pop song that we had 3 years ago and it sounded similar, I'd be like, okay, that's fair. I can see why you would want to emulate a pop song. The thing with emulating a pre-existing Junior Eurovision song is that, especially one that came 3rd place, it treads this line between, oh, we're doing this, and oh, we're kind of submitting a song that's kind of similar to a song that's already been. And it treads this fine, are we plagiarizing a song that was at Eurovision already? Or are we simply just submitting a song and coincidentally it sounds like something that's done well at Junior Eurovision? And that is one major thing that I feel like may harm Malta's chances at this Junior Eurovision Song Contest. I'm not sure how the staging is going to happen if you can only have 5 more people and, in some scenes there, I counted 40 more people. They're going to have to reconcept this when it comes to going on stage. And you know what? That's completely fine. Sometimes you have to do that. And you know what? I wouldn't necessarily be against this one getting a much compressed staging. I wouldn't mind camera filters. I wouldn't mind imagery that is retro. Because in this case, it kind of fits. But I'm not sure if the song is necessarily a retro song. And that's just one thing that I'm a bit on, realistically. Dance pop can kind of fail at Junior Eurovision. Especially if it's not staged well, which, flows into my last point. Staging matters. If you cannot come up with a good concept for staging, then you're probably going to not do well. And Malta has actually been pretty good at staging since returning. I'm just a little bit worried about how they're going to tackle this particular song. If you have any opinions on the Maltese song, please feel free to tweet at Eurovision, or just send an email or check out the Tumblr and send an ask. Go ahead. In terms of where I think this one is going to place, so we've now got it confirmed that there are 16 countries, so giving places out of 16 is no longer an issue. So I'm honestly predicting this one's going to get about 8th. And why do I say 8th? Well, I think that 8th is not a bad position to come, necessarily. I just don't see this one gathering the momentum to get into the top 5. but I do see a strong mid-table finish for this one. It really depends on the performance that we have not seen yet. In terms of my scores, so the first score I gave it was an 8 out of 10, the second score I gave it was a 7 out of 10, and the third score that I gave it was a 6 out of 10, leaving Malta with the score of 7 out of 10. Thank you very much. Malta, you have sent a pretty good song. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the most amazing song you guys have sent in the last 5 years, because you guys have sent such brilliant masterpieces as Diamonds, Not My Soul, and Parachute. And according to a lot of people, The Start, that's not necessarily within my taste regions. But the thing is, Malta, good luck, and none of these.